Its response to the coronavirus pandemic has won praise across Europe. And on Monday, Germany has started to ease the restrictions aimed at containing the virus. Some small shops and schools have reopened, as have some car plant production facilities. Authorities said last week that the outbreak was under control and even more testing was made available. Germany has the fifth highest COVID-19 caseload in the world at nearly 146,000, but has kept fatalities down to a relatively low 4,600 in a population of 83 million. Now, it's up to Germany's 16 states to implement the easing of restrictions. Our Berlin correspondent Jenny Hill explained what's happening there.
There are some regional differences. Each of the 16 German states gets to implement those measures in the best way they see fit. So, for example, here in Berlin, shops actually haven't opened today. That's due to happen later in the week. But I've just been watching some TV pictures of a school here, a headmistress wearing a face mask, opening the door to let one pupil in at a time into a hall where they're to sit their exams at a safe space from one another. So some schools opening to some pupils simply for exams here in Berlin. It is a cautious start, and I think it's important to say that in tandem with the relaxation of these measures, the authorities have said that they have beefed up their testing capacity. They can now run 730,000 tests a week. They're also strongly recommending that people wear face masks in shops and on public transport. In fact, some states are making that mandatory, and they're also continuing to aggressively contact trace to make sure that as soon as they know of a person who's infected, they make sure to find out who else that person has come into contact with so they can then be tested to avoid any outbreaks from spreading further. So it is a very cautious start. Not quite enough for Angela Merkel, reportedly. She's said to have this morning told senior members of her CDU party that she's rather worried that the focus is all about the relaxation, when in her view, really the focus should be on the continuing risk and the necessity to really focus on making sure that the infection doesn't spread further.
Well, Jenny, we're looking at some images of people shopping and out and about, some wearing masks, some not. I mean, it's interesting. As we said earlier, Germany has won praise across Europe for the way in which it has handled this outbreak. Why do you think it has been as, I suppose, successful as it has been compared to other European countries?
Well, scientists here and abroad point to a number of factors. First of all, Germany tested a lot of people, and it tested them very early on. It had a lot of testing capacity quite quickly. And so a lot of people who were first infected got tested early before the symptoms became particularly advanced. And so they were quickly recovering before they could pass it on to other people. They were contact tracing very quickly too. I think it's fair to say that Germany has had some luck as well. The way in which this virus entered the country meant that initially really it was younger, fitter people who were becoming infected. Scientists point, for example, to a lot of people who contracted the virus while they were skiing in Italy and Austria and then brought it back to Germany with them. That means that the average age of an infected person in Germany is still only 49. And that has implications, of course, for how sick those people get. The death rate has been given a lot of attention internationally too here. It is much lower than other places, but as every expert here predicted from the beginning, it is starting to rise because the infection has now spread to elderly people's care homes and hospitals. So more vulnerable sections of society are falling ill, and unfortunately they are more likely to suffer and die from the virus. So it is a changing picture, and that's why the authorities here are very keen to be very, very careful as they take their tentative first steps towards easing parts of that lockdown.
Jenny Hill reporting there from Berlin.